It was a bright Saturday morning in Kigali, and the air was filled with the usual buzz of the Kimironko market. Keza, a young entrepreneur who designs custom-made clothing, was carefully selecting some colorful kitenge fabric. She spotted her old friend, David, a primary school teacher, haggling playfully over the price of some samosas. "David, don't you ever get tired of those?" she called out with a laugh.
He turned, his face breaking into a wide grin. "Keza, never! A good samosa is one of life's great joys," he replied, finally paying the vendor. As he counted his change, he sighed dramatically. Even my samosa budget feels the pinch these days. Everything costs a little more, with taxes and all."
Keza nodded, her smile fading slightly as she thought about her own business expenses. "Don't even get me started, David. I just filed my quarterly taxes for my little shop and, wow. It feels like I'm giving away a huge chunk of my hard work. I look at the final number I have to pay, and I just think, where is all this money even going? It's a bit frustrating, You work so hard to build something from nothing, and then you have to hand over a significant portion. It sometimes makes me wonder if it's all worth the struggle, especially when profits are tight."
David took a thoughtful bite of his warm samosa before responding. "I hear you, I really do. It's not easy. But then, on my way here, I was thinking about something different. Do you remember how that main road to the market used to be? All potholes and dust? It was a nightmare, especially during the rainy season. Now, it's smooth, paved, and clean. That doesn't just happen by magic. That's our tax money at work, making our daily journeys a little bit easier. It's one of those things we easily forget to appreciate until we remember how it was before."
Keza considered his point, her gaze drifting towards the neat, paved street just outside the market entrance. "I suppose you're right about the road," she admitted slowly. "It is much better now. I guess it's just hard to connect the money leaving my bank account with the smooth asphalt I drive on. The connection isn't always obvious. One is a very personal pain in my wallet, and the other is just a public road that everyone uses. My brain doesn't immediately put the two things together. It's easier to feel the loss of the money than to see the gain in the community."
David continued, his tone becoming more animated as he warmed to his favorite topic. The power of community investment. It's more than just roads, Keza. Think about my classroom. I work in a public school, and a few years ago, we barely had enough textbooks for all the students. Now, thanks to increased government funding, which comes from our taxes, we have new books, better desks, and even a couple of computers for the kids to learn with. When I see a child's face light up because they have their own book to read, I see exactly where that tax money is going. It's an investment in our future, in our children. He pointed with his half-eaten samosa towards a health clinic in the distance. And what about healthcare? Remember when Auntie Grace got sick last year? She went to the public hospital, and because of our community-based health insurance, Mutuelle de Santé, which is supported by the government, her treatment was affordable. Without that system, which is funded in part by taxes, a serious illness could have ruined her family financially. We are building a safety net for each other, piece by piece, tax by tax. It's about making sure that nobody is left completely behind when they face a crisis.
Keza listened intently, the vibrant patterns of the fabric in her hands momentarily forgotten. She had to admit, David had a point. Her own niece was in a public school and had often come home excited about new learning materials. "I see what you mean," she conceded. "When you put it like that, it sounds much better. I do want the kids in our community to have a great education. And you're right about the health insurance. It's a lifesaver for so many people. It's just that these benefits feel so big and spread out, while the tax bill feels very personal and immediate."
Exactly. It's a trade-off, David said, finishing his samosa with a satisfied sigh. We give up a little of our individual earnings to gain a lot in collective benefits. Clean streets, security, the nurses at the clinic, my salary as a teacher, it all comes from that shared pot. We are literally paying to build the Rwanda we want to live in. It's not a perfect system, of course, but the goal behind it is to lift everyone up together. When you pay your taxes, you're not just giving money away. You're contributing to a national project, a project of progress for all of us.
"I understand the national project idea, David. I really do," Keza said, finally choosing a beautiful blue and gold fabric. But let's be honest, the reality for a small business owner like me can be tough. The tax rates can feel very high. Sometimes after I pay my taxes, my rent for the shop, and my suppliers, there's not much left for me to reinvest or even to save. It can feel like I'm running just to stand still. I worry that these high taxes might discourage people from starting their own businesses, which are so important for creating jobs in our community, she continued, lowering her voice slightly. And then there's the question of trust. We see big, impressive government projects, and that's great. But we also hear stories, whispers about corruption or money being wasted. When I pay my taxes, I want to be 100% sure that every single franc is being used properly and efficiently. Is it all going to schools and roads? Or is some of it disappearing along the way? That lack of complete transparency makes it harder to feel good about paying. We need to know our sacrifices are being respected and used for the public good.
David nodded sympathetically, his cheerful demeanor giving way to a more serious expression. You're absolutely right to feel that way, Kaiser. That is the other side of the coin, and it's a very real concern. The burden has to be fair. It shouldn't feel like it's crushing the very people who are trying to build the economy from the ground up. If the tax system makes it impossible for small entrepreneurs to succeed, then it's failing in a fundamental way. We need people like you to thrive, to open more shops, to hire more people. The system should support you, not hold you back. And the trust issue is the biggest hurdle, he added, his gaze firm. The government has a responsibility not just to collect taxes, but to be completely open about how they are spent. We, the citizens, are the shareholders in Rwanda Incorporated. We deserve a clear and honest annual report. Without that trust, paying taxes will always feel like an obligation we resent rather than a contribution we are proud to make. It's a two-way street. We have a duty to pay, and the government has a duty to be accountable. Both sides of that agreement are equally important.
As they started walking out of the market together, the morning sun warming their faces, a sense of shared understanding settled between them. So, we agree it's complicated, Keza said with a small smile. It's not just taxes are good or taxes are bad. It's both. They build the country we're proud of, but they also create real challenges for people just trying to get by. It's like we are watering a garden. We know we need to use the water, but we also worry about flooding the smallest plants before they have a chance to grow strong.
David liked the analogy. Exactly. We need the water, but we have to make sure it's distributed fairly and that none of it is leaking from the hose. For me, my hope for the future is that the system becomes even more transparent. I'd love to see a simple public website where we could track major projects and see exactly how much tax money is being spent on a new school or a hospital wing. Imagine if we could see our contributions at work in real time. That would build so much trust and pride in what we are achieving together.
Keza's eyes lit up at the idea. Oh, I would love that. That would make a huge difference for me. And my hope, she added, is that the government finds more ways to support small businesses. Maybe lower tax rates for the first few years of a new company, or simpler tax filing processes that don't require hiring an expensive accountant. We need a system that encourages entrepreneurship, that sees us as partners in building the economy, not just as sources of revenue. A little support could help us grow and, in the long run, contribute even more in taxes.
They reached the edge of the market, ready to go their separate ways. So, a more transparent and a more supportive system, David summarized. It sounds like we want the same thing in the end, a fair system that we can all believe in, one that helps build a better Rwanda for everyone.
Keza nodded in agreement. Exactly. A system that we are proud to be a part of. They said their goodbyes, each leaving the conversation with a clearer understanding of the other's perspective, united by a shared hope for the future of their nation.